Tom Cruise has done his fair share of sci-fi movies over the years, and while Edge of Tomorrow is probably my pick of the bunch, it would be unfair of me not to give an honourable mention to Oblivion, a 2013 post-apocalyptic sci-fi action movie that paired him up with director Joseph Kosinski for the first time. And let's be honest, when those two get together, good things tend to happen. Anyway, Oblivion is one of those films that's gradually gone up in my estimation over the years. When I first saw it, I was like, that was a decent little movie, nice one, Tom, and then promptly moved on to other things. Truly, we were spoiled back then. But anyway, the more I thought about it, the more I was impressed by the twisty-turny plot, the interesting exploration of themes of identity, legacy and redemption, the way it makes full use of its small but talented cast, the spectacular visuals and the awesome production design. And when I came to rewatch it recently, I was genuinely impressed by how good it was. So fuck it, let's talk about it. Oblivion is set about 60 years after a catastrophic war with an alien species known as the Tet. Humanity eventually managed to repel the invaders with liberal use of nuclear weapons, but the war reduced Earth to a mostly uninhabitable wasteland. A bit like Kirkcaldy town centre. The human survivors eventually abandoned the planet to start a new colony on Titan, and the only people left behind are Jack and his assistant Vika, who as it turns out are an effective team.
Mission says we have done well. That we are an effective team.
Their mission is to maintain and protect the giant harvester units that are sucking up seawater from the Earth's oceans so it can be turned into fuel for the new colony. Once they've completed their mission, they'll hitch a ride on the last ship out of there. All well and good. The only problem is that Jack is haunted by recurring dreams of a life before the war, memories that he shouldn't technically have since he and Vika were mind-wiped before their mission started. Unfortunately, she's not interested in talking about the matter, getting visibly agitated whenever he tries to bring it up, and their suspiciously cheerful mission controller isn't willing to help either. Could something more be going on here? Are the scavengers that occasionally attack their facilities really what they appear to be? Things rapidly begin to spiral out of control when a mysterious signal leads Jack to an ancient ship that's crash-landed out in the wasteland. He's able to recover one of the crew, alive and perfectly preserved in stasis. Not only is she a relic of a time before the alien invasion, but she also claims to be Jack's wife.
No way!
I say, old boy, whatever could be afoot here? The more clues Jack uncovers and the more memories he unlocks, the more he begins to realise that the mission, and in fact his entire life, is basically one big lie. But what is his real purpose here? What do his mission controllers really want from him? And is there a way to stop them, or is it already too late? The idea of an amnesiac protagonist slowly recovering their lost memories and realising they're not what they believed themselves to be is a trope that's been done plenty of times before, but what I like about Oblivion is that it never leans too heavily into it. Yeah, it's used here to keep important facts from the audience until the time is right to reveal them, but it's not like it's done to fundamentally change who Jack is as a person. He's not some secret serial killer or ruthless assassin that's conveniently forgotten who he is. He's basically a good man, manipulated into following the wrong cause by forces outside his control. And it's only when he discovers an ancient book in a derelict library that he begins to deviate from his mission and question his true purpose here. Now, if you were inclined to look for subtext and hidden meanings, you could probably draw a lot from the idea of knowledge, education and reason being the key to freeing humanity. But hey, maybe that's just me. The pacing and direction is absolutely spot on. Oblivion is a movie that unfolds at a relatively slow, thoughtful pace for the first half, with lots of big extravagant landscape shots and scenes of Jack poking around ancient ruins. A man with no memory, exploring the remains of a vanished world he doesn't recognise, collecting relics that he doesn't understand. Don't get me wrong, there's some great action sequences as the pace ramps up towards the end, but I was just as happy discovering this fictional world and getting to know its characters. Visually, Oblivion is a gorgeous film to look at. A lot of the movie was filmed on location in Iceland, with all its spectacular volcanoes and rocky plains, so there's a realism to it that would have been missing from sound stages and green screens. Take note, Marvel. The sky tower that Jack and Vika spend so much time in is like something out of a sci-fi fever dream. A sleek, sterile, high-tech home in the clouds, looking down on the remains of a blasted, stormy wilderness. Even the vehicles and equipment, for all their advanced technology, look believable and functional. You really get the impression that this is the kind of shit people might be using half a century from now. I said before that the cast is relatively small for a big budget action movie like this, but the narrow scope allows the script to focus in on each one with more detail and nuance than would have been possible otherwise. Jack is your classic hero type, smart, resourceful and brave, and most importantly, curious about the world around him. He's a man that's willing to question the status quo and go against orders, even if it means putting himself at risk, because he knows it's the right thing to do. Vika, on the other hand, is his polar opposite. She's utterly committed to the mission, follows directives without question, and becomes increasingly alienated from him as his behaviour becomes more erratic. She's not exactly an evil person, but she values order and stability at any cost, and that puts her on a collision course with Jack. Last of all is Julia, who falls in between the two and immediately drives a wedge between them. She's the only one that knows who Jack really is, and although she doesn't understand the circumstances that brought them to this point, her presence is what reawakens his suppressed memories and encourages him to go looking for more answers. Overall, Oblivion is a well-constructed, competently acted, brilliantly directed, and visually magnificent movie that you can absolutely lose yourself in for a couple of hours. It plays with some neat storytelling ideas, presents a well-realised world, and just like its main character, it retains a core of humanity to keep you invested and deliver an emotionally satisfying conclusion. In short, it's a great sci-fi movie, and I would thoroughly recommend you watch it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.